The dollar continues to slowly strengthen. Bond yields continue to rise as bonds continue to sell off. And this is something that I quite honestly thought would reverse over the last week or so and has not. And it's continually, as we see here, it's continually trickled upward over the last few weeks. And we said we we're going to keep an eye on this. Global liquidity has been positive, meaning there's been much more global liquidity than retraction here or contraction in the last 3 months or so. And it's kind of reversed course a little bit here. And I'm not going to go into super detail about that. You can watch, Dr. Jeff Ross and listen to people like that kind of go into more and see his Twitter. They go into more of like the details and numbers. But this is why it's important. This is important to know what's going on because this affects everything. This affects your retirement, your 401k, your pensions, where the economy is going. If the economy crashes and goes into the toilet, can you go get gasoline out of the gas pump? Are things frozen up? Or is your credit card frozen up? Is it Biff Tannen's Pleasure Paradise 2 when you're in Back to the Future, or in Back to the Future 2 in Biff Tannen's Pleasure Paradise and you have to get gas with a shotgun in the front of your car? And that's the thing I don't think people are truly ready for. And we've seen a lot of, like Bitcoin, for example, banks trying to cut people off their entrance ramps, exit ramps, things like that. And Bitcoin's inevitable. And it's shown that over and over again. It's designed to be attacked. It's been attacked a billion times, and it's going to continue being attacked. And it just continually shown its resiliency. That's why more and more people, once they continue fighting you until they join you. And that's why you see banks around the world, EU, all these people, Mass Mutual, New York Bank Mellon, eventually get in, BlackRock eventually get into Bitcoin and say, you know what, this thing's real. And that's why the system, as we've been showing, is collapsing around everyone. It's the sinking Titanic slipping under the waves, the fiat legacy monetary system slipping under the waves, and it's the people up at the stern of the ship saying, hey, the dollar's rising. Things look great up here. What do you mean? Like my dollar buys me all kinds of stuff, even though there might be some inflation, but it buys me all kinds of stuff, Brandon. You're crazy. And the people in the Bitcoin life raft are going away in that volatile ocean, that little boat, because it's a small nascent category right now. Bitcoin, it's $400 or $500 billion in market cap, so it's still a baby in terms of market cap and asset class. However, the people in the Bitcoin life raft can see the ship sinking. When you're in Bitcoin, Bitcoin changes you. You don't change Bitcoin. And I thought I was plugged into the world, fit, healthy, and the Bitcoin world, the Bitcoin social layer has made me 100x that, and think about things I never even thought of before, and really reinforced my really kind of last 10 years, 10, 12 years of realizing, oh my gosh, we're on the same team. 9 out of 10 of us all think the same thing. We're just being polarized and divided and told to hate each other, black, white, man, woman, young, old. We're just told to hate each other, but it couldn't be further from the truth. We're on the same team. It's not the red versus blue game. It's the state versus you. That's the true game. That's the class war that's going on. The central banks trying to squeeze the middle class and push us all into the poor class. And in economy, free market, capitalist economy, we try to get the bottom rung up to the middle class, and then the middle class up to the upper middle class, and then to the rich. That's how a positive person thinks about life. That's how an entrepreneur thinks about life. That's how a person that thinks the best of people and thinks that humans are inherently good. However, when you have governments that are designed to attract really the worst people of society, and let's call it what it is, they are inherently narcissistic, Machiavellian, and they're going to continually think and do things that are in their best interest and not yours. This is why we continue to monitor things. Dog wagging the tail, the 10-year treasury. That is the bellwether of what's going on and what happens. When there's a credit market, we'll see it, and we see it now. We see it. There's credit events going on. If this continues rising, we're going to see countries start blowing up again, like we did in 2022. As it rose to 4 and then above 4, we see central banks start losing their mind. We see people start going bankrupt. We see countries start going bankrupt. The Sri Lankan palace being overrun. Venezuela, Argentina, Brazil, the UK pound, sterling. Guys, this literally just happened a few months ago. So don't forget what happened. This is why I've been saying for a long time. The more resilient and independent you are, the less this affects you. Right? If you have food storage and energy, water, security, firearms, ammo, you got some land, you've been building your community, which is the number one thing, and then you have your wealth stored in Bitcoin and then a little bit of gold and silver, you are prepared for everything. You are prepared for everything. And then we have to get ready mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally, because this is a war. This is an absolute war. The Great Reset, the Great Narrative, Klaus Schwab's books, public-private partnerships, the Club of Rome, go back. The last 50, 60 years have been the exponential hockey stick curve, the printing of currency and trying to destroy the middle class, trying to destroy Western culture, destroy the nuclear family, destroy your sense of morality. We're in a moral relative state, a postmodernist state. There is no reality. There is no logic anymore. It's all emotion. And this is not me saying this. This is me studying and regurgitating. There's no new messages, only new messengers. And quite frankly, there's a lot of the messengers that are older now, and they're dying. And they, God love them all. The new crop of people are coming in to ride in and say, hey, this is what's going on, and we need to get our heads out of the sand. So how do we do that? Well, again, one of these things, we come in here every day and we look to see what is going on with the markets. What is going on with the 10-year Treasury? It's been selling off again and really getting up here again to, I'm not going to say scary levels, but levels where things start hitting the fan. Let's just say that. So we have to start paying attention to what's going on there. We'll see a stock market, really kind of somewhat flat on the day. Not too much is happening. But again, the markets are a little different. They don't know what to do. But again, they're the derivative though. That's why they haven't moving much, but you can see a little bit of movement first in the 10-year Treasury and the DXY. So now you see the DXY at 104.6 almost. And I believe it touched 104.6 or 7 or 8 maybe today. So we can see that continue to strength. People selling out of the bonds and going into the dollar because they don't know what's going to happen. They're unsure. And even though the VIX is down, the volatility index, things like that, there's all kinds of, the people losing their jobs left and right. And here, again, before I talk about the commodities really quick, we're going to read this really fast. The yield in the U.S. 10-year Treasury note, seen as a proxy for global borrowing costs, rose past 3.95 mark on Thursday to reach its highest in over 3 months. And amid further expectations that the Federal Reserve will raise the funds rate to a higher level for a longer period of time, and they think it might go to 5.5%. That'll probably be catastrophic. I mean, that's going to be a situation where I believe they're trying to get the CBDC ready. That's been my thing forever. They're going to either, Ethereum's captured, they're going to try to use Ethereum, or they're trying to create their CBDC, and then they'll let the shoe drop finally and not come in and rescue things with the Fed put when that's ready. Because they'll try to usher people in and convince them and swindle them into the slavery coin, Fed digital coin, which I don't know why you would ever even think of doing that. When we have Bitcoin. Bitcoin is freedom, and it's completely sovereign, and you are your own person. And again, newsflash, government doesn't create money. Government doesn't provide money. People create money through their value creation, their time and energy, producing goods and services. That's how money is issued. Not through the banking system, not through the government. That's not how money is created. If anyone tells you that, they either don't know what they're doing or they're a complete liar and are profiting off of that system somehow. That is the fiat Ponzi we live in. When money is not backed, or currency is not backed by money, not backed by gold, silver, or Bitcoin, not backed by actual stores of value, then you are being screwed. You are being lied to every single day of your life, going to work for a lie, trying to get dollars, which is a lie, which is debt. You think you're saving an asset when it's really a liability on your balance sheet. That's why you get poorer and poorer. That's why the average person continually has more month at the end of their money and cannot get ahead. They cannot afford $400 emergency payment. They cannot afford a $1,000 emergency payment. That's why. Because they're saving a liability that they think is an asset. The data comes shortly after the release of the minutes of FOMC's meeting this week, which showed the policymakers underscored upside risk to the inflation outlook and that interest rates need to remain at a restrictive level until inflation is clearly on a path to 2%. That's not going to happen. They're going to raise it to 3 or 4%. And here again, they talk about the labor market. The initial jobless claims expectedly fell and furthered evidence of a tight labor market. Just hilarious. Tight labor market. So there's too many jobs. Too many people have jobs. So we need to crush things. We need more people to lose their jobs. That's what's going to bring down inflation because then people won't spend their money. Literally think about that. We live in a system, and everyone accepts it. Grown men, 80 years old, 90, 100 years old, 70 years old, 60 years old, grown men go to work every day and accept that system. We're going to steal 2%, 5%, 10% of your wealth every single day. You know what? Too many of you, Jerome Powell, Janet Yellen, Joe Biden, all these, the goon squads, Trump, put it all in there. Obama, Ben Bernanke, all the Fed heads, Christine Lagarde, all these central bankers. They literally go to work, sit around a massive wooden desk. I've showed you these desks. Massive wooden desks, and sit there and pontificate and say, you know what? We need to destroy demand more. We need to crush people and get them out of their jobs. That will make them not able to make their payments and buy things. So then demand will come down and that will lower prices. There we go. We solved inflation. No, inflation is you printing currency like mad and letting the banking system do fractional reserve lending and then lowering the reserve requirement to zero. To get rid of inflation, you just start sucking up the liquidity into the banking system by raising the reserve requirement. But they're not doing that. That's how you know it's a game. That's how you know you're being played, and they want to destroy you. That's very simple. If they wanted to tame inflation, they technically could probably do a pretty good job of raising reserve requirements. However, they're not. They're instead raising interest rates and killing your job and your neighbor's job and your family's jobs. So what does that say to you? You tell me in the comments. You tell me what they're trying to do. Literally, these people are constantly wrong. And grown men sit there and say that's okay and let this and just go to work and don't question the system. Think about that. Think about that. Absolute insanity. And then we go to work every day and have to pay interest on the debt that they take out, the bonds that they are selling off to the Fed and enrich the Fed, the central bankers. Central bankers run the world. Central bankers are the governments. The puppet masters, they are the central banks, and the politicians are just the puppets. That's all it is. It's just political theater, literally. That's why the term is political theater. Crude oil, 75 still about. Gold and silver, haven't got hit much. Those are kind of sideways as well. So we want to see those three, the trifecta, oil, DXY, and 10-year treasuries to really see what's going on. And Bitcoin and gold and silver are really kind of those liquidity indicators as well. Bitcoin down a tiny bit over the last few days, about 24,000, but holding up amazingly well in this contraction really over the last couple of weeks. Bitcoin, let's see if Bitcoin's running, right? Yeah, running. Wonderful. Great. We're auditing every transaction. We can go and see exactly what's going on. If you run your own node, you can see exactly what's going on. You can run the entire system yourself. Can't do that with the Fed. Can't do that with the Fed. One guy, 12 guys are going to sit there and they're going to pontificate on if you should have your job or not, what the interest rates should be. Think about that. Let's think about that. But yet with Bitcoin, we know exactly what it's going to be. Every single time, without fail. We know exactly what it will be. Perfect. Every single time. Predictable monetary policy, no matter what. So Bitcoin is running. And then, again, we got to show a couple of these things here and what's actually happening in the true world, in reality, right? If you buy your eggs with dollars over the last 50 years, you've been getting crushed, as we will see here. So keep saving dollars, and this is what will happen to your life, because this is what's happened in the last 50 years. If you've been around for the last 50 years saving dollars, here's your life. If you've been around for the last 14 years and saving in Bitcoin, a hard, finite, sound money, here's your life. You now can buy whole farms instead of this guy who can't even afford eggs. So keep saving. If you want to be poor, keep saving in dollars in depreciating assets. Or if you want to be wealthy, save in appreciating assets, in assets that accrue value over time because they become rare over time. It's very simple when you break it down, first principles. And here's the dollar against Bitcoin getting absolutely destroyed. Oh, and here's the debt. We're going to end on this. $31.5 trillion, $1.5 trillion year in deficit, $500 billion in interest payments. That will continue going up here as these interest rates are elevated. Probably get to $1 trillion, if not more, if they raise again to 5.5 and then or 7, 10. That's why they can't, because you can't be paying all the tax receipts in essence eventually to your interest. It's just complete collapse of the economy. So they're going to continue to print their way out of this to get this number here, the debt to GDP down. They need to try to get that down to 80, 90. So they're going to print. Financial repression. This is why being in this inflationary environment going forward, in the macro, you have to be in hard assets. And the easiest thing for every single person is to own Bitcoin and then own a little gold and silver as well. Own hard assets, hard tangible assets. It's not freedom advice, or not financial advice, it's freedom advice. I appreciate you coming to my TED Talk. I really do. Please share this. The truth is not algorithm friendly. Not at all. There's so many people out there that are doing, Satanist videos and, Trump derangement syndrome videos and you name it. And they're put out there in a pedestal. I mean, they're like, boom, I'm putting the gas down and amplifying that crap out of this video. People talking about the legacy media and legacy financial system and how wonderful it is. People talking about, reassignments of themselves and things like that. Guys doing makeup tutorials. Oh, those people are just shoved out there. I mean, those people are just, whoop, here you go. But hey, truth and reality, we talk about truth and reality. What's actually going on? Yeah, good luck. So we are the only chance, the community. So please share these videos, and if you get something out of these, and if you vibe with the truth and reality and what I'm saying, please share this out far and wide, because this is the only hope we have, waking up enough people out of their stupors in order to have freedom move forward. Simple as that. And wealth. And what comes with that is wealth. wealth and prosperity and doing what you want when you want. Period. End of day. So I appreciate you, your time and energy. It's the most important asset we have. Time is energy. Energy is time. Bitcoin is time. And Bitcoin is energy. So time is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is time. I appreciate you. I look forward to seeing you on the next one.